So today I'm going to be talking some about working with third-party code and how you can reduce risk on your website when you have an accessible third-party code. So first off, what counts as third-party content? Essentially anything on your website that you did not make. So this could be in the form of content hosted using frameworks or plugins. And some common examples we see are video players such as YouTube, maps like a Google Maps, or forms sometimes are embedded using third-party content. Here's an example of a video player. I'm going to explain some things I might check for and how we can determine if it's inaccessible and what you need to work on. So if you have a video player such as YouTube, I would want to go through and make sure all of the buttons have accessible names and all of the focus states meet contrast. And then there's also some video specific things. So making sure that there are captions available, and then also there's a transcript. And then within those available settings, making sure that they're all accessible using keyboard navigation and all of the other accessibility requirements for those features are met. So those are just some things you can look out for when you're choosing third-party code to pick which one you want to choose for your website. Another example, back to the Google Maps, this is a really common one. The specific thing for something like a map would be making sure that there's an alternative method of input for any dragging features. So that's super common. You can drag around a map, making sure that that can be done using only the keyboard. And then also the other accessibility considerations such as accessible names, contrast, and good image description, since a lot of visual information is conveyed through a map. Some common misconceptions around third-party code. Third-party content on my website's an exception. It is not. You're still liable for third-party code if you want to be fully conforming with WCAG. And you also, if you use an accessible third-party code, it will be reflected on your VPAT. Another common misconception, third-party accessibility is out of my hands. It can seem really daunting to be dealing with something that you didn't make in someone else's control of and then having to remediate it, but we do have several strategies that I'll discuss later on that'll help you go about this. So, the strategies for improving third-party content. Some changes you might be able to make with your devs, and you don't have to get into communications with the third parties. So a common example would be iframe titles. We often see iframes that don't have titles, and this can be remediated by putting an ARIA label on that iframe, and that would resolve the third-party issue. Another one, accessible names on other content, such as a button. You can use an ARIA label for that to create an accessible name, and that would also solve the problem. However, we do recommend that you create your own components if you can. So for example, if you're using a framework to create something like buttons or a design system, and you have the resources to make your own, go ahead and make your own buttons or components. And then you won't have to work with the third parties, and you're in control of all of the changes, and your team can make all of the remediations themselves. If you can't make those changes, get in touch with the third party. Step one would be to see if they have a VPAT, and then I'll explain more why you should have the VPAT in your accessibility statement. Another one, present the accessibility issues and then also a remediation plan. Something that we provide in our audits is a plan on how to tackle the remediations and what to do. So it'd be a great chance to hand that over to a third-party company and then work with them to see if they have a timeline or even the resources to resolve that. And then if you can't find a way to remediate the code with the company or with your team, find another one. We can certainly do audits to help you determine if third-party code is effective and accessible, or you can look around and you can see if there's anything ranked and find something that meets your needs while also not having the same accessibility issues. But what can I do in the meantime? There's several strategies, and this is where the VPAT comes in. For your accessibility statement, you want to disclose the third-party accessibility issues. And then if they have the VPAT, include that in your accessibility statement. This shows that you're on top of the accessibility remediations and that you're familiar with them and working with the company to try to resolve anything that users might run into. The biggest thing also is to ensure that all content you create is accessible and make it clear in your statement that only your third-party content is unsupported. How can Accessible Web help? We have several services and products that can help you in navigating third-party code. We have our RAMP software and our auditing tool and extension. This can help you and your team go through and not only find remediation tasks that we deliver through our auditing services, but also find them for yourself. And then if you find them, or if you have questions for our team on ones that we've found, you can use our consulting and training to help educate your team and answer questions in real time. And then we can also provide you a VPAT from the audits to show that everything you've made is accessible once you do the remediations, but also provide a good paper trail for how your accessibility has gone. Any questions or comments?